Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone can see me. I hope everyone can hear me. This is an absolutely baffling situation. So I'll come on to the studio rebuild in a very short period of time. But yeah, let's just say I'm having fun and games at the moment with a brand new setup. So I've got a brand new ultra-wide monitor. And the ultra-wide monitor has a resolution of 2560 by 1080, which of course is not the standard, was it 1920 by 1080. So OBS is telling me there's a bit of a warning. So if you can't see me, please let me know in the chat, and I'll see what I can do to rectify it. So how is everyone? I hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, it's been a very interesting month, to say the least. I think it's fair to say. I've got a few things I want to cover today. So, hot off the press, Studio One 5.4 has been released today. So I think we'll add that in. We'll quickly go over some of the, there's four main key features. We'll have a quick look at that and see how those... affect the Studio One users. And then we're going to have a look at the IK Multimedia Group Buy, because I want to show you some of the plugins that I've got, and just to kind of give you a heads up, if you join the Group Buy now, you actually get 15 plugins for the price of one. So it's an absolutely bonkers deal at the moment. So if you are in the market for some more plugins, the IK Multimedia Group Buy is something that I'd really recommend you taking a look at. And then we're going to do a bit of an update on the studio. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess because there's that horrible pipe around there, because I'm basically in the process of looking at all the acoustic treatment, and we're moving the room around and things like that, and I've got a whole completely brand new setup. So that's all been good fun, trying to get that all set up and running. And then, of course, the belated 1,000 subscriber plugin giveaway. So I'm going to announce some details on the plugin giveaway. So we'll cover that in a little bit in due course. So yeah, I hope everyone's keeping well. As per normal, we'll have typical Q&A. Leave me a question in the chat if you want to ask a question at all. Then drop me a message in the chat, and I'll go through the questions as we go through the live stream. So yeah, without further ado, let's have a quick look at the Studio One 5.4. So it's released today. And so it's not a full version 6 or even a 0.5 release, but it's still quite a major update. And the big thing for most people, if I go onto that page there, I'm just gonna, you have to bear with me a little bit, because I've just transferred over to a Mac as well for a short-term period, which I'll explain a bit later as well. So if I switch over here, and if I minimise that, so we got the Studio One page here, and say Studio One 5.4. Some really exciting new additions. So certainly one that's going to affect all of us who are into mastering is the exporting of multiple formats, which is this is going to be a really interesting and quite a good time saver, I would say, as well. So it's the export mixdown window in Studio One 5.4. Now has a list of available formats which can be exported in a single pass without even requiring additional rendering time. So each format offers and remembers its own export settings. With only a single format selected, switching formats is as easy. So that looks really interesting. The thing that interests me there, the export mixdown window. Okay, let's quickly flick. Let's get Studio One 5. So that will be in the export mixdown. One thing I'm not too sure about. Let's have a look at the project page. Okay, let's just quickly, I'm just going to have a quick look at this now. So if I do, what do I want, import file, and then if I go to, what have I got in here? Oh, Oh, okay, sorry, Jack. In fact, I was going to use this dummy here. Use this. It's a FLAC file. Digital release. Let's have a look here. So you got WAV, AIFF, FLAC, OGG, CAF, M4A, constant bitrate, use range, add tracks, do not publish, upload to Persona Sphere. Okay, interesting. There's no option here inside of the project page. Okay, that's it's rather frustrating. Let's go back to the song page. Now, if I do the same thing here, in fact, it's probably going to tell me I need to import a file. So if I import that same file. Okay, so yeah, so you got the format here in the export mixdown. Irritatingly though, it's not available in the project page. So if you want to master it from the project page, and you then want to export it in multiple formats, so let's do a WAV file. Say for instance the client is going to do, or you're going to do a digital release. Let's say you want to do a WAV file to send to the distributors, and you want to do an MP3 file for your own personal use. Let's say you want to download it to your phone or something like that, whatever, to play the track in your own leisure time. You can do it in the export mixdown. You can't do it in the project page, which is really frustrating, because if the whole point in mastering the song in the project page, yeah, you'd expect that to be transferred over to the project page, wouldn't you? So yes, so I was really excited about that one, and I've suddenly become not quite so excited as we go through this. So okay, I digress. Let's go back to the Safari there. So you've got the export multiple formats, but you can only do it in the song page, which is pretty pants. Let's have a look then. This is probably one of the biggest ones. So native support for Apple Silicon M1 processors. So this has been quite a big thing for anyone who's using one of the new Macs. So the M1 Max that released last year, there was no native support for Studio One. It did run on the Rosetta 2 platform, and it ran really well. I have just got a new M1 Mac Mini, and it's great. It's going to be my video editing device rather than my mastering device. But my new PC build hasn't turned up yet. It's probably going to be another couple of weeks. So I've been using Studio One on the M1 Mac Mini using Rosetta. It's worked perfectly. I've not had any issues with it at all. And to be perfectly honest, I did not see any performance negatives over my old Intel build. It really was rock solid. But you've now got the native M1 support for Apple Silicon processors. However, just a point to a point to tell everyone here: if you have plugins that are not natively supported, say for example IK Multimedia, the T-Racks, which I love, they are not supported at the moment for the M1 processors. So even though Studio One is, I cannot load up the T-Racks plugins inside of Studio One 5.4 if I'm using the native version of Studio One. So it's still going to take some time. I've had a quick look through, and a lot of the, obviously you've got all the stock plugins. AU plugins are fine as far as I'm aware. I don't think there's an issue with AU plugins. It's the VST3s. So it's the VST plugins, and you see here native mode requires all VST plugins, instruments and hardware drivers to also provide native support. So if you've got any VST plugins that you're using and they do not offer native support, then you will not be able to use them inside of Studio One 5.4 if you are using the M1 compatible or the ARM version of Studio One 5.4. There was a very interesting or a very handy tip that someone showed on the forum earlier on. If you can switch between Rosetta and you can switch between the native mode. So if you go into your Finder and if you go into your applications and you then right click and then go to Get Info, so right click on Studio One and look at Get Info, and you'll see here you've got the tick box for open using Rosetta. Now by default that is unticked, so it's going to download 5.4 in native ARM mode, but I've ticked the box to open using Rosetta purely because I want to use all my IK Multimedia plugins. So yeah, it's just that really, it's really good that they give you both options. You can just, literally a tick of a box, you can choose between the native mode or the Rosetta mode. So it's just something just to point out there. But that's a really, really good feature, and it's something that is, it's going to be really good as time goes by, as more manufacturers and developers start coming on board with the M1 chips. It's going to be really, really good. Plugin Nap. Now, I haven't really kind of looked into this one too much because it doesn't really affect me too much at this present moment in time. However, I'm actually thinking about it. I've got a really good use case that I can explain here. So Plugin Nap is basically, if a plugin is unused, it will go into, you can select an option that will put it into nap mode. So yeah, it's allows your system to not be bogged down by CPU heavy plugins all the time. So beforehand, if you was to have a load of VST instruments, even though that they may not be, working at a particular moment in time, so say if there's only a short clip and it's like 3/4 of the way through the song, it would always be loading your CPU. However, in nap mode, effectively, it won't be using the CPU until it becomes active. Now, as far as I'm aware, it does have a couple of use cases where that may differ. So if the plugin is open and there may not be any sound going through the plugin, if you're tweaking the parameters for whatever reason, then that will obviously take up CPU load. But if it's just sat in idle mode, then the nap option is basically just going to really help take the stress off the CPU. So that is a really, really cool feature. Something that I just suddenly thought how this could be really relevant to a mastering scenario. If you, like me, would be mastering inside of the song page, I love doing all the basic mastering inside the song page and then transfer it through to the project page. So if I'm doing all my processing inside of the song page, if I've got all of my tracks set up, say in sequence mode, then if I've got a plugin that's particularly CPU resource heavy on track 1, thinking about it, if I put it in nap mode, by the time track 2 hits, then that plugin will go into nap mode. So if you're using a lot of resource heavy plugins for mastering, but you're only using them on particular songs, if you put them in nap mode, then that should only really stress the CPU whilst that song is playing. So that is a really, really cool feature and something that is going to be really useful for anyone mastering. And then the last one here, the last big update, is the real-time chord display. I know nothing about this one. So it's been added to the note editor inspector underneath the existing input chord display. This display has 2 states depending on the context. Current chord shows the chord detected from the notes at the current play position, as well as the next upcoming blah 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 blah. If you want to know more about that, head on over to the PreSonus website. I did pop some links in the chat, so. If you want to know more about this, I did put this link. It's in this. It's the PreSonus website. Let me quickly flick back to. In fact, I'm just gonna quickly go back to OBS for a second. And if I put you around to here, I'm just gonna browsers on Macs doing my head in. So yes, if you have a look at there we are. So it's the second link down. It's the PreSonus.com, and it's the products and the Studio One 5.4. So there'll be more information there. Hi Billy, hope you're keeping well. Great to see you, and thanks for joining. So yes, there's just explaining for anyone who's just joining, just looking at the Studio One 5.4 updates that's been released today. I'm really frustrated about that project page thing, because the whole point of the project page was to do that final release. And if you like I say, if you're getting to a stage where yeah, but for a client, how often, for me, it's quite regular that I'll get, a WAV, they want a WAV file and an MP3 file or something like that. And in the project page, I now have to do 2 digital releases. But in the song page, with this new option, I'd only have to do that once. But why not transfer it through to the project page? Seems absolutely daft that you wouldn't offer that when the project page is there for that specific reason. But that's certainly something I'm going to have to put through. I'll certainly be doing a feature request to get that, to see if we can get that transferred across, because that would be an absolutely, a great feature and save a lot of people a lot of time. So that is that. So I think it's good. There's lots of bits for everyone. I do love that nap mode. I think that's going to be really, really useful. And I know modern computers are getting much more rigorous, or much more strenuous and strong for the plugins we've got these days. But anything we can help these systems will be greatly appreciated. Now, so that's the Studio One 5.4. Let me know what you think. These are some great features. There are some additional improvements, like system enhancements, and if there's any, I know we don't like using the term bugs, but if there are any bugs in the system, there are some other bits and bobs that have been added as well, some refinements. So take a look on the Presonus website. They do look like some good features. And of those 4 that I've mentioned now, what are your thoughts? What ones do you think that you will use the most? What's one that's really interesting you? Let me know in the chat, because it'd be great to get some talking on this to see how it's going to affect you guys in your workflows. Next up, let's have a look at I'm going to go through the IK Multimedia Group Buy, and I know this is something that some people like, some people don't like, etc. I think it's fantastic. So what the Group Buy, for those who don't know, it's a system where you can buy a number of you can receive a number of free plugins based on the amount of entrants that we get to the Group Buy. So the way it works is, if you have to buy 1 plugin at full market value, and then you will receive a number of free plugins based on the number of entrants, and the value of those free plugins is capped at the price that you paid for your plugin that you purchased. So for example, the way that I did it, I wanted Amplitude 5, but I knew I wanted a lot of the T-Rex plugins as well. I got a lot of them, but there's a few others I wanted. So I bought Amplitude 5 at €199. That meant that I then received my free plugins. All of them could be up to the value of €199, which was great. So it covers most of the plugins, except for like the real kind of the max and the extreme bundles, etc., etc. Now the way it kind of works on from there, so it's then done in multiples of 1,000. So if there's 1,000 entrants, you would get effectively 2 free plugins. And if it goes up, so it says here, when 8,000 registrations are reached, you'll get 8 free, and then 9,000, 9 free, 10,000, 10 free, and so on. At the moment, it is buy 1, get 14 plugins free. So let's just recap there. Buy 1 plugin and get 14 plugins free. It is crazy, because I think the average price on a lot of these plugins are probably somewhere between €150 and or €199. I'd say probably the average is probably somewhere in the middle, about 150, I'd say. But yeah, you get 14 plugins free. And what's even better, this will continue to go up to the end of the month, but you're not restricted just to buy 1 lot. This is what makes it even better. So I'll give you this is what I did. So I wanted, obviously, a lot of the T-Rex plugins, and obviously wanted the Amplitude 5, and I'll show you some of the plugins I got in a moment. And there was a few others. So I think I got I got Modo Bass SE, Modo Drums. After getting Modo Drums, Modo Drums SE. Sorry, I then got the upgrade to the full version of Modo Drums. If this carries on at the rate it's going, I will likely then upgrade the Modo Bass SE to the full Modo Bass. But you're not restricted just to join the scheme once. So there was a particular plugin that I wanted, which is one of the T-Rax ones. And let's just have a quick look here. If I go into read more, the plugin itself... come on, there we are. Right, so the plugin itself... You see a lot of these, the Compressor, I haven't tried it yet, but that's meant to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to trying that one. I got that one as well. But the plugin that I wanted, which was I thought would really be beneficial for mastering, is the linear phase EQ, which is here. But it's €49.99, and I thought about this for a moment, and so I could have got this as one of my free plugins, having bought the Amplitude. But I thought, if I can get a value up to €199, do I really want to be choosing a plugin that's €49.99? Didn't really make sense. So I thought, actually, if I buy that, I can then join the scheme again. So that's exactly what I did. Now, the thing with it, obviously, you then get another load of free plugins. So I then get another 14 free plugins. But what I wanted in that respect is, when I'm not mastering, I do like to create my own music, and I've just got the Atom SQ. It's fantastic. It's probably going to turn into a bit of a glorified transport controller, but hey, it looks amazing, and it's really good for what I need it for. But I really want to get into synths and things like that, and they do the Syntronic is one of their synth emulations, and there's a free version, but you also get a load of add-ons with it. And I just loaded myself up with loads of add-ons. It was, so I then done it that way, and it's just been fantastic. It really has been fantastic. So I've then managed to get, if I go back to this one, got a bit of a lag on the internet. So the Syntronic, they do all sorts. You get the sample tanks, get all the sample tanks instruments a part of it. But I do a free version of this, the Syntronic. And if you look at the Syntronic instruments, they're all €49.99. And I literally just loaded myself up with Syntronic instruments. The other things I did buy the T-Rax reverbs. I think they were the same, $49.99. So I then just I now own so many IK Multimedia plugins. It's amazing. So I've done it that way. So it really is a good way just to get a lot of plugins. They're high quality plugins for really cheap. Like I say, you buy one, and at the moment you are getting 14 free, and it's increasing. That is the good thing about it. It doesn't stop until the end of September. So it was originally running up until the end of August. But IK Multimedia said that if they could reach 10,000 entrants by the end of August, they would then run it to the end of September. And the group buy is capped at 25 plugins. So it's 25 titles for the price of one. So it's 24 free plugins. So if you get 25,000 participants, you can have an even more ridiculous amount of free plugins. It really is good. They normally run this, maybe once every year, once every couple of years, but I've never known it to be this good. Honestly, I've received probably 5, maybe 6 free plugins in the past. Not 14, nowhere near this amount. So it really is a great deal. If you want to get involved, head on over to it's the IK Multimedia website. Now I have put a link in the chat, and that link is for an affiliate link. So you'll see it's the one that says click synergy. So for those who don't know what an affiliate link is, it's where if you use that link to buy your plugins for the IK Multimedia website, I will receive a small commission. It's no additional cost to you. It's just, think of it like a referral commission. That's basically what it is. It's just some way of going to supporting the channel. I know not everyone likes affiliate marketing and the people selling affiliate links. I only want to offer affiliate links where I feel it's going to benefit everyone else, and I use these all the time. That's the only reason I'm offering this affiliate marketing. I'm not a big believer in just doing it for the sake of it, but I love the IK Multimedia plugins. I highly recommend them, which is, it's something why I certainly want to promote, because I think you guys will get a lot of benefit from. And if you do use the affiliate link, it also helps me out, just support the channel as well. So if you did want to consider using the affiliate link, it's in the chat. And I say it's the Click Synergy link in the chat as well. So I really, highly recommend taking a look, seeing if there's something available for you. There is lots to get, lots to see. I'm going to quickly go back to Studio One, and I'm going to show you some of the plugins that I've got. Now, obviously, Amplitude 5 was one. And I'm not going to go into a lot of these, because a lot of these, they're not mastering related. The ARC one is a great one. So this is the ARC one. I can't really show you too much now, because it's the way that ARC works. It is a room correction software is probably the best way of putting it. Think of it like a SonarWorks type thing, but an IK Multimedia version. And the way you do it is you would then measure your room using a measurement microphone, and then all those measurements go into ARC, and it would then apply some EQ correction for your monitoring situation. It's that they do a bundle which comes with a microphone, but obviously with the Group Buy, they don't offer that because a lot of their products come from Italy, so it doesn't really make sense. But I do know that the ARC 3 is compatible with third-party microphones as well. And funny enough, I've just ordered the Behringer ECM 8000, I think it's called, because I'm going to do the room measurements in this room to really kind of get to grips with the acoustics. So that's all compatible with the ARC 3. It's something I wanted to try out. The mix box I got on the Group Buy. So for anyone who doesn't know what the mix box is, it is effectively like think of it like a 500 series rack. Where you can have lots of different plugins. I haven't really tried it. Let's take a quick look. Obviously, I don't really do too much in terms of mixing, but let's have a look. I don't even know how to use this thing. Let's have a look here. What do we do? Oh, okay. So there we are. So we've got all sorts of things. You've got like amps, channel strips, delays, distortion, dynamics. Okay, so let's have a look at that. And it's got like a black 76. Let's have a look at an EQ. Oh, parametric. Let's have a look at that one. And then if you want a reverb, you've got all different reverbs in there. And you've got, let's just put a bus compressor in there just for the hell of it. Once again, I don't know. What's this here? Oh, there we are. So you have up to 8 spaces in. So that's really good. So you can have like a really good size rack. So if you wanted something like Saturator, tape cassette, yeah, got a limiter in there. So if you wanted the limiter lasting your chain, that'd be great. So you could use that for a lot of mixing applications. Of course, you could use it for mastering. It's not the reason I bought it. It's not the use case I bought it for. I do a bit of my own mixing for my own stuff. So I would predominantly use it for that. But I think this is a great thing. It's very much like the Slate Virtual Mix Rack, but obviously using the IK Multimedia plugins, so I think that will be quite useful. The Black 76, I don't think I had this one. I think this was one that I got. Pretty much, yeah, I think we all know what this is emulating. Always useful to have one of these style plugins in your arsenal. This was one I wanted, the brick wall limiter. I love the stealth limiter, but something that I've spoken about before is using stacked limiters. So I quite often like using one limiter going into another limiter. So I quite like the idea of using this last in the chain with a stealth limiter before it. So this will be the brick wall with the output ceiling. You can even adjust the attack time and release time on this one. You've got your input, but I quite like the idea of using the stealth limiter in conjunction with this one. So you kind of have the stealth to tame the peaks, and the brick wall just as literally the brick walls, and nothing will go past that. So I'm really looking forward to trying that one out. What else did I get? These are the ones I've had for quite some time. The Compressor. I love the look of this. I really like I don't know what this is emulating. Part of me thought that this was something like going to be the Distressor. It looks like that ilk, but I'm not entirely sure. You've got distortion elements to it. But I know this has been getting rave reviews, so I really want to try this one out. It looks, say, lots of different features on this. You've got the okay, so you've got the high pass on, so it's sidechain features here. Input, reset, attack, release, lots of different ratios. So it looks as if it's going to be some form of kind of like limiting type scenario. I like the fact that you can even do 1-to-1, 2-to-1. That's quite, for a lot of these kind of I think these are probably more aimed at like the mixing community, but it's good that they are really starting to think about having low ratios, because if you want some really nice subtle compression, then getting something with really nice low ratio can be really good for those uses. Mid-side, that's really interesting. So it looks like it's got internal mid-side capabilities, output dry wet, so if you want to do some form of parallel, you've got that in there. Tone, high pass, distortion, yeah, lots of different things to do with that one, so that looks really good. Obviously I got these the reverbs. I haven't tried those out yet. Keen to try this one out. I love a de-esser, and I love a de-esser for mastering. A lot of people look at me and think, what do you use a de-esser for mastering? A de-esser is not just for vocals. A de-esser can be used to tame high sibilant frequencies, and you can get that from all different sources, not just vocals, but you can get it from cymbals, just any high frequencies. So if you get a lot of high-end build-up, then try a de-esser. The de-esser is, I liken it to the high end of a multiband compressor. So yeah, really try it. It looks as if this one as well. So you have, so there's multiple bands in there. So you've got 2-band or a 3-band. Okay, that's quite interesting. And then you've got so listen mode, normal, band, DS type, soft, 2-band, 24-band octave. Okay, then there's like a range. Okay, so this is then going to set, so you've got your frequency range here, and then this is then going to set your. Okay, so that's your frequency range. Interesting. That looks really, really good. I'm definitely looking forward to testing that one out. I love also, I need a de-esser for a lot of my tutorials. My my vocal is naturally very very essy, so I could do with that. Also, can you let me know, what does the sound of this is a new microphone. This is the Audio Technica 2040, I think it is. It's the 2040 dynamic mic it's designed perfectly for podcasting, broadcasting, that kind of thing. Let me know what you think. I was using the AKG, I think it was a P120 condenser beforehand, and very sensitive, as most condensers are, but I like the idea of this one. It's got an internal pop filter. Let me know what you make of the sound quality, because I'll be really keen to kind of get you guys' thoughts. So before I go on to any more, I just want to quickly go back. Let's take a brief look at see if anyone's asking any questions at all. Green is green. Oh, green is green. Evening. Hi, how are you? Rapid, hello. Thanks for joining. And so this is a monthly live stream that I do, and it's just going over some different beats. Each month's a different topic, and this month we're going through. Obviously, we've been through some of the Studio One 5.4 release features, the IK Multimedias, and then we're going to go through a little bit of the Studio update, and then the plugin giveaway. Steve, very low volume. Volume is low. Okay, let me quickly go into. I'm just going to go through and update it. Start control panel. Right, I'm just going to boost the gain in the software. Here we are. Right, okay. I won't keep you guys 2 seconds. I'm just going to go through. And undo this. Right, okay. Let's try. Okay. Try and boost that now. How's that? That sounding any better? I'm inside of another thing that I've just recently got is the Antelope Audio Zengo Synergy Core interface, and it's all digital. So literally all of the there's a couple of buttons on the front, but not many. You have to go into the control software. The preamp gain is maxed, but there's it's one of these ones that's got its internal DSP. So the internal DSP has got a preamp microphone. I'm boosting the gain there. So let's do. What about that? How about that, folks? Is that better? Let's have a quick look in OBS. Test 1 2, test 1 2. So OBS is still showing that. I'm just going to quickly go and just put it up a little bit more. How about now? I'm certainly going to have to start getting used to this a bit more. Okay, let's come out of that. Okay. So hopefully that's looking a bit better now. Okay. Okay, volume's very low. Let me know if it's still very low. I think it's one of these things as well. You've got to get quite close to these dynamic microphones. So maybe if I try that as well. Okay, let's go back to... Brilliant. Okay, that's great. That's great. So let's come out of there. Okay. Let's minimize that. Okay, now if I go back to desktop door mode, let's go back and have a look at Studio One again. Let's have a look at some more of the other plugins. So this is all this control panel malarkey. I'm getting used to it. I love digital. When it comes to things like mic preamps, I still love buttons and knobs to twist. I think they're much easier than this control panel malarkey. Right, so let's have a look at some of the other bits I've got. So obviously linear phase EQ was another one that I got. Let's remove the de-esser. This is one of their old style plugins, but I really like the sound you get from linear phase EQs, and it's relatively versatile. 6 bands, mid-side modes. And then you've got individual frequencies, you've got the Q, and then you've got your different filter settings or different applications. So you've got, say like low pass, high pass, you've got your shelves and your bell curves. So yeah, looking forward to getting into that one. Input, output, it's all pretty standard apart from that. Master EQ I've had for a long time. Master Match I've had for a long time. TF, okay. The metering I've had for a long time. Mic Room, I haven't got a clue what this is about. I'll be honest, it was one that I've thought that it might be useful at some point in the future. I don't know what it's about. I'm assuming it's some form of microphone emulation. Source, input, proximity. Yeah, okay, so it's obviously going to be some form of microphone emulation. And then we've got the TR51. I've had that for quite some time. Opto Comp. I love an Opto compressor. And this is, I say, it's obviously their version of it. I used to use the Plugin Alliance one quite a lot. So I'm really looking forward to testing this one out. Once again, relatively straightforward. You've got your input, your ratio, attack release, you've got compression, and your output. Mid-side mode. I love the fact that anything that gives me mid-side mode is just, I don't use it all the time, but I love having plugins with options. The more versatile a plugin can be, the better I feel. Precision Comp Limiter I've had for a long time. The Quad Compressor. I wanted a couple of options for multiband compression. I know that in the Studio One we've obviously got the Tri-Comp and we've obviously got the multiband compressor, but I like just having a few different options. This is a great one. Once again, it's all very, very much like a standard multiband compressor. You can do mid-side mode, your solo bypass. You can do different bands, 2, 3, and 4, and then you've obviously got your octave roll-offs. You can link the bands. Pretty standard out under the bottom. Threshold, ratio, attack, release, gain. But I tell you what, I was really, really impressed with is this one. The Quad Limiter. Now, I won't mention any names because a good pal of mine who follows the channel has asked me to master a track for them, and it is their rendition. It's a classical piece, and it's the rendition of what do you call it? It's the Tchaikovsky track. It's the 1812 Overture. And there's a part of the track where it's renowned for the finale when the cannons come in, and the sound of the cannons in his interpretation was just peaking slightly, but it's obviously because it's the cannons, and we're talking quite a big difference between the peak level of everything else was probably a good 4 or 5 dBs lower than the peak of the cannon. And because the cannon was all low end, I didn't want to just apply a standard limiter or a compressor, because it's going to if you've got a broadband limiter or a broadband compressor, it's going to compress everything. Whereas using this, what I was able to do is just use it in the low band mode, and all I did is put it in 2 bands, and then you just literally change the frequency as to how you want it, and then I was literally just able to use this as a limiter on the low end, which I thought was really, really great. And once again, you could do mid-side mode. With this particular track, the Canon was very much stereo to get that large, really a thunderous sound. So we left it in stereo mode, but once again, I love the versatility of this. And it's one of those, am I going to use it on every single master? No, but it's always going to come in handy at some point down the line. So I really found this one useful. So that's one. I'd highly recommend. It's once again, it's just nice to have in the arsenal in case you need it at some point down the line. And then the last ones are Saturator. I've heard lots of good things about this as well. I'm not a massive fan of using too much saturation, but I like this because there was lots of different modes to it. So once again, it's very versatile. So a couple of tape emulations. Push-pull Class A, etc., steel, iron. So there's lots of different types of saturation, and you've got your gain, your outputs to just give you balance in there. Mid-side again. So if you want to do some mid-side saturation, it's there. Oversampling. 1 times oversampling. Yeah. Oh, there we are. I was going to say it's probably a little bit. You probably want 4 at least. So you just click on the button and it gives you 4 times oversampling. So that is going to be really, really handy. Brick walls. So it looks as if there's some kind of cap on there as well, which is super useful. But yeah, the oversampling. Anytime you get any kind of saturation or distortion, you want to look for some kind of oversampling for preventing aliasing. And then the last one I got in these particular plugins was the VC670. Yeah, it's obviously a classic vintage compressor, and it's. I think when it comes to compression, I probably rely on limiting. I wouldn't say too much, but if I can just use a limiter and not use any other compressor, that would be my... That really, I'd be quite happy with that. But if I need some form of other compression, because once again, sometimes it's nice to get some compression going into the limiter, and if I didn't particularly want something as aggressive as a stacked limiter, then maybe using some form of bus style mastering compressor. It's just nice to kind of get some evenness in the volume going into the limiter. So I was really kind of keen to kind of give this one a go and to try this out. And some of these as well, the way that they're modelled, because they're modelled on obviously a vintage compressor, sometimes it's nice just to try and let the, just really, even if it's just like half a dB's worth of gain reduction, just let the sound source run through the compressor, just to kind of try and get that emulation of the vintage kind of tone. So yeah, I was really kind of... this is another one that I looked at and thought, I could really do with that. So it was one of the first ones I got. So that's pretty much it in terms of that. And then the other things are instruments, which I won't really go into. I'll quickly show you. I've got the Modo bass. I've got the Modo drums. The Modo bass is the SE version. The Modo drums, I got the SE version. And then because there's so many free plugins I've got now, then I've got the upgrade to get the Modo drums full version, and I will likely do the Modo bass the same. And then the Syntronic, I had the free version anyway, and then just bought a shed load of the of the optional extras. So I really got me money's worth from the Group Buy. Excuse me. So yeah, I think it's really worth doing. As I say, there's some links in the description if you want to find out more about the Group Buy as well. So let's quickly go back to the chat, see if there's anything in the chat there. Love oversampling. Yeah, I think it's one, especially when it comes to mastering. It's one of those things where I know there's been a lot of talk about, or a lot of debate, I use the term loosely, debate over oversampling versus upsampling. And, anything, in my opinion, anything to make the process much more simpler and streamlined. So, for me, if there's an oversampling option, that would be my preference, just purely because it's kind of, I want to focus on the mastering, not whether, is this going to sound best at 96K, or is it going to, I think you have to kind of almost take a bit of a step back. And I know that we've got the whole issue with aliasing and things like that we need to consider, which is why I'd look at the certainly go for the oversampling option. But when it comes to things like sample rates, and whether you go for 96K, I think we need to take a step back and just think why we have sample rates anyway. And if the average adult can only hear up to probably max 17K, you're always going to have some people who can probably hear up to 20K and around about there. But you then got to think about your sample rates and the Nyquist theorem. Then if you need to twice sample the frequencies, or twice sample the frequencies to get the playback, and if most people can only hear up to say 17 to 20K at best, then technically 40K should be fine. I don't really see the need to really start pushing 96 and all that. 44.1, 48, I love 48, that's probably my preference, but 44.1 is where it's at. I'm not really one for massively upsampling loads of stuff. I'd rather trust the plugins with the oversampling is certainly my current point of view. So Follow, hi to all, hi Follow. Okay, so that was the IK stuff. We've gone through the Studio One stuff. Last couple of bits I want to quickly run through it. Once again, any questions? If you've got any questions at all, then just let me know. Drop me a question in the chat. More than happy to take any questions at all. Whether it's mastering related, gear related, whether it's Studio One related. So drop me a note in the chat. More than happy to answer any questions. Last couple of bits I wanted to go through. I'll do the plugin giveaway last, because I think that's I'm quite excited by that. Steve Benson on track 44.1. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm part of a mastering forum, and we've been having discussions regarding distribution platforms and sample rates, and there's lots of different online digital distributors out there, and they all do things slightly different. They're relatively consistent, but there are some, a few little differences. But one of the main ones that are popular at the moment, DistroKid, they are, still very much, although they say that you can upload 24 bits, 48K, I think they even say you can do up to 96K. I'll be honest, I think they're almost like getting like optional extras now. I think they're still kind of, their standard is 16-bit 44.1. So it kind of, you've got to kind of look at what you're going to export at anyway. So it kind of, just don't complicate things. Is it's certainly my point of view. I'm not going to start looking at doing, really kind of high sample rates to then kind of down sample, and it's another thing to kind of think about later on down the line. Try and keep things nice and simple. If we record at 44.1, certainly if an artist comes to me and says I've recorded at 24-bit 44.1, then I'll leave it 24-bit 44.1. If it's a 16-bit file, I suppose it's kind of, that's probably a little bit tricky. I would still recommend to anyone, if you're recording 24-bit, because you get more headroom, so there's less chance of getting any digital clipping. But if it's 16-bit 44.1, it is what it is. If it's recorded at 16-bit 44.1, there's little merit in doing a 24-bit project, because all you're effectively going to be doing is adding a load of O's to the file, increasing the file size, and you're not really going to get much improvement. Inside the door might be slightly, it depends on how. I think this is when it comes to, you instantly start thinking about other certain things in terms of headroom when it comes to the clipping side of things. Obviously, if you've got 32-bit float, it's a little bit different, but just try and keep things as simple as you can. That's certainly my advice. Any thoughts on DSD? I've had this question before. DSD. It's not something I particularly. It's not something I particularly thought of, to be fair. Let's have a look. Oh, right, okay, yeah, Direct Stream Digital. So it's a high-res format that produces a high-res signal and a different way to that employed by the PCS system that can be transmitted as WAV. I don't really have any thoughts on it at the moment. I think I've got to that point where there's so many new things going on, and it's trying to really understand what is just a fad and what's going to be more mainstream. And I would really, for me, things like this, I'll tend to see what comes more in the wash over the next period of time. It's certainly not something that I consider at this particular moment in time. Put it that way. It's an audio file, high resolution audio format. So DSD versus FLAC versus WAV. I know there's a lot of things on here about what's better. I think for the majority of the jobs that I have, it's not really something I get pushed for. So it's not really something I kind of consider too much, if I'm perfectly honest. Hi Nick. Did I miss the IK Multimedia Plugin section? You did, but it's just to recap, so for those who don't know, so the IK Multimedia Group Buy is still going, and it's literally getting bonkers. So you have 14 plugins free at the moment. So you buy one plugin and get 14 plugins free, and it's going on until the end of September. So yeah, I've filled my boots, and I've got the first lot, got that done, and then went and bought a second lot of the more budget friendly plugins as well. So when that goes up to the next tier, which hopefully will be very soon, What are we up to at the moment? 14,599 participants. So we need another 401. So if we get another 401 participants, then you get an extra plugin for free, and there's still 16 days remaining. So if anyone's interested, once again, it's to go to the IK Multimedia website, or if you did want to use one of my affiliate link, it's in the chat. Once again, it's not going to inflate the cost to you. It just means that I will get a small commission off the back of it. Just as think of it like a referral fee, and it will just go to help supporting the channel. So any help that I can get will be greatly appreciated. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's literally. It's yeah. I still can't believe we're up to 14 free plugins. I've never seen it like this before. What I want to quickly do now is to give you a bit of a studio update in terms of where we are with things there. It's nuts. It's gone nuts. I cannot not tell you how busy it is at the moment. As you can see with like the pipe work, everything's like it's all over the place in the studio. Everything's changed. Absolutely everything has changed. Going from the monitoring situation, I've got the Olo Audio S4X headphones, which are fantastic. If you haven't seen my video or my review on them, check them out. They're just fantastic. They are such good headphones. They're premium headphones, but they're not all these that ilk. You know, we're not talking thousands of pounds. You can get a pair for around I think it's about it's difficult because over in the UK it's slightly different now post Brexit, because now VAT is charged by an import fees are charged by the courier rather than the company. Say 360 plus costs. I think it's say around £400, something like that. And obviously you can find it on Amazon as well. So if you're in the US, check out their store on Amazon, because that's probably a better way than going direct, because then obviously you won't have quite so many issues with things like import fees. But they're fantastic headphones. But I wanted to improve the monitoring situation in this room. I had an old pair of... They were Tascam monitors, and they were 5-inch, and I knew that I needed to upgrade them. I've needed to upgrade them for a long, long time, but I've known them so well. And I used them in my old room. I've been in this room for 2 years now. And I got really got used to them, but I knew there were certain things that I didn't quite like about them. They weren't quite as... they didn't have the clarity that I needed for mastering. The low end wasn't there. And it was kind of, I knew that it was due an upgrade, and I went through a lot of options and looked at different things and whether I was always kind of probably erring to the side of caution and going for a 5-inch monitor and looking for a sub option. But in the end, I plumped for the Adam Audio T8Vs. They were very highly regarded. They're amazing. They really are good, and it's kind of the low end. They say they go down to 35 hertz, and even though it may be difficult to hear 35 hertz, I can tell you, you can feel it. You can certainly feel the low end with these. They're amazing. They really are good. They're probably still not where I'd want them at the moment, because obviously I'm still looking at the treatment. I still need to do the room measurements. So obviously they've got on the back, they've got the EQ switches on the back, but they are good. I love them so far. Really, really, really impressed. And they got the ribbon tweeters, which are meant to be really good for the high end. And my impression so far is, they are very articulate at the high end. So I'm quite impressed with them. I've also bought some stands, so they're off the desk. So beforehand, I had the desk set up, and I made my own custom speaker stands, which were really easy to do, really fun to do, also a pain to do. But they were great. They were really good fun to do. So if anyone wants any information on making their own desk speakers, then let me know. I'll certainly help. Steve, thoughts on 32 versus 64-bit processing? I haven't really got any, if I'm perfectly honest. It's a bit like, it's one of those things. It's kind of, I don't know, how can I kind of explain it? It's the thing that worries me about the digital trends with increasing bit depths and bit rates and the way that DAWs handle audio is I think people still see it as a bit of a, it's almost kind of like is it a kind of a fallback plan, a fail safe? Is that what I'm probably trying to say? Possibly. It's kind of some people when it's recording, they kind of recording the mixing, and certainly when it comes to mastering, they kind of like, well, the mastering engineer can just turn the track down. And it's, well, yeah, okay, there is an element of that, but it's kind of like, well, if you record your tracks too hot, and it then goes, you record your tracks too hot, if they're mixed too hot, then you're not setting yourself up for a good result at the end of it. So I'm still probably in that kind of mindset of, 24 bits fine, as long as you just do things, I say, properly. Is there a proper, probably not the correct term, but just don't be daft. Don't really smash it when you're recording it, so you're then struggling with headroom afterwards. I know Studio One's now it's got 64-bit processing. Be quite honest, it's one of those things as well. I really just try and focus on the music rather than things like that. If I need to turn it down and I know that I've got that to fall back on, then so be it. But I just don't want it. I don't want people to see it as like the norm, where you can really start processing things far too hot and then just turn things down at the end, because I don't think it's going to set anyone up for for success in creating great music. So. Yeah, it's pretty much my thoughts on it. Certainly at this moment in time, as technology moves on, then things will change. Once again, I've just got the Antelope Audio Zengo Synergy Core, and this is a 64-bit interface. So it's full high res. The conversion is certainly, I love it. I've fallen in love with it so far. I also love the fact, even though this is a new microphone and it's obviously it's dynamic, so I'm getting used to dynamic versus condenser and not having the analog knobs to turn the input gain up. But the things I love with like this interface is the DSP. The DSP, I think, is going to save me so much time, especially when it comes to doing these videos. Because when I'm sat here recording the dialogue, generally I would have to go and do some form of post-processing. Whereas if I can do most of that now actually on the way in, it's going to save me time down the line, and I don't have to kind of export everything out and then kind of do some form of audio processing before then sending everything back into the video editor and things like that. So there's so many, I love the way that digital's going. I just kind of I still think we need to kind of keep some of the rigor around things like recording levels and I say gain staging. It is probably gain staging, recording levels, and just being a little bit sensible in that regards. So yeah, the Adam Audio T8Vs are great. They're off my desk, which is great, which means I've got a new desk. It's a small compact desk, which is perfect because it's now, the speakers are right behind the desk, and I've got a little area in front. I've got my monitor on the wall, so if you see me looking up there, it's because it's a 34-inch ultra-wide Samsung. Can't remember the model, but it's now up on the wall, which is brilliant, which is to give me much more space. As I'm getting older, the eyes aren't getting any better, as you can see, because I've got the bins on. So yeah, just having that away from the off the desk is great. New desk, new setup here. The computer systems. I'm running Mac at the moment. I've never had a Mac before. I love it and I hate it. I don't hate it really, but there's parts of me that's kind of like, certain times when I want to kick it out the window. But the M1 Macs are phenomenal. I've been so impressed with everything about this. It's the M1 Mac Mini with the 16 gig RAM. I only went for the 512 gig hard drive, the SSD, because it's going to be primarily my video editing rig. It's not. I'm using it for music at the moment until my main PC turns up, my audio PC, which should be coming hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And Nick, I actually ended up, I didn't go AMD route in the end. I went for an Intel, and I went for an Intel i7 11700K build. I spoke to the guys. I ended up going with PC Specialist. There were a few other companies I approached who gave me quotes, but I wasn't particularly happy with certain parts of service, so I spoke to PC specialist who also do audio PCs, and I've got a build around the i7-11700K, water cooling. It's got a 3060 video card, even though I don't really need it because I'm going to use the Mac Mini, but it's nice to have. If I need to do something on there, I can do that on there as well. 32 gigs of RAM. The motherboard, I can't for the life of me remember what motherboard it is, but I know it can go up to 128 gigs of RAM. Not that I think I'll ever need it. It's going to come 32 gigs. SSD, I can't remember what SSD I went for. I know it's 512 gigs. I didn't go for a terabyte because there's so many different ports on there that I'm going to add other bits and bobs in. So I'm going to add other SSDs in there to kind of separate out the song drives and all the sound sets and things like that. So they're not all off the main boot drive. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, silent case, water cooling. So it should be really decent and silent. I think there's upgraded fan, all sorts. Spent a good amount on it, so hopefully it's going to last me. Some time. But what else was there? It was something to do with connectivity. I don't think I went for the Thunderbolt port, but it's got obviously the motherboard has got the Thunderbolt option. Because I know we've spoken about that in terms of the quantum interfaces. I ended up getting a good deal on the Zen Go, so that's why I've gone with that. The thing with mastering, I'm really kind of the conversion is the real big thing for me when it comes to choosing an interface for mastering. It's trying. Well, a lot of people do a lot of different things when they're doing recording. They're doing recording, mixing, and mastering all at the same time. It's good to have something that's a bit of a jack of all trades. But for me, it was really kind of focusing more on the A to D and D to A conversion. The Antelope converters are, very highly regarded. I think they're phenomenal. I like the fact it's got two headphone ports on there. So if I do get the occasional, I do some recording for some friends and things. So we've got that option there as well. And I'm really impressed with that. So that's really good as well. And then what else is there? The new edition, Atom SQ. It arrived Monday. It's brilliant. I love it. I think I don't use it as it's intended. I will be doing my own songwriting with it at some point, but at the moment it's just a glorified transport control. But I love it. It's brilliant. I can do everything on here, so I can go through and I can go into the song. So if I'm in the song page, for example, I can go through. I can loop selection and change the do all sorts, add markers, and got all the instruments, instrument browsers and everything at my fingertips. And I love the fact that you can go through, you can loop regions, count in, you can save, you can undo, and it is pretty much a glorified transport control at the moment, but I love it. I think it's going to be a great addition to the studio. And then lastly is going to be the room, the acoustic treatment. So I'm in discussions with a couple of companies as well. So there was quite a popular company who I was in discussions with who. Once again, I don't know. I kind of I feel little bit let down. I won't say who it is. I don't think that's fair. But when it comes to things like spending money on things like acoustic treatment, you want to have trust. And when at the last minute before I go to purchase or put the order through, they doubled the quote because they felt that they could justify it. That kind of frustrated me. So I'm in discussions with another company as well. So we're looking at doing some form of. It's certainly going to be some kind of content creation around this. So it's going to be, I want to go through looking at the obviously how you treat the first reflection points, what we need to do, what you need to look for in terms of treating a room, how you can measure the room, and then what the recommendations and things are off the back of that. Because obviously it's not just a case of building some panels and sticking them up on the wall. They've got to be strategically placed, and then also you've got to think about you've even got to think about the makeup of the of the panels themselves, because it's no good if you've got say a 2-inch rock wall. Well, that may be great for some applications, but it's not particularly going to be useful as a dense bass trap. So you then got to think about where do you need your bass traps in your room, and then certainly with the corners and the way my room's set up, it's a bit of a unique room, so we need to kind of really go into that as well. So I'm looking forward to document that process as well. So that's something that that will be featuring in some videos coming really soon as well. And I really say that where that pipe is going to be covered up, because it's an absolute eyesore and there's not much I can do about it at the moment. So yeah, just looking at so that's certainly going to be covered up with a panel, and just generally make the studio a bit nicer. I think that's it for the time being in terms of the studio. Yeah, that's pretty much all the where we are at the present. I'll probably do a studio tour. I'm a bit loath to do a studio tour because for me, some of the videos I see on YouTube, it's kind of like, oh, look at me, this is all the gear I've got. But with I really want it to be kind of more strategic around why, rather than, oh, I've got this because it's the fad thing, it's the in thing, and it cost me a lot of money, so I'm going to show off because I've got a load of money to spend on it. I don't want that. I want to do something more with the whys rather than the whats, so to speak. So that will be coming up in due course as well. So that's where we are with the studio tour. Let's just have a quick look at the chat. Okay, so there's no further questions coming through. Once again, if you've got any questions at all, drop me a question in the chat. More than happy to take any questions at all. Lastly, before we do anything else, the 1,000 subscriber plugin giveaway, and I just want to start by saying a massive thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. We obviously hit the 1,000 subscriber mark probably 6 to 8 weeks ago now, and we're over 1,200 subscribers, which is great. The channel is growing strong, and I'm really thankful for everyone who has taken the time to subscribe, to comment, to like the videos. It really does mean a lot. I'm still kind of gauging the kind of topic that everyone likes at the moment, so I'm trying to test a few things, but obviously it's going to be, Studio One is the mainstay of the channel, and the mastering, obviously it's mastering, all the mastering bits in there. I'm trying to do a little bit more, some of the wider concepts and ideas as well, but so thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed so far, and we're going to do a plugin giveaway. And I have been a massive supporter of different companies, obviously Presonus and IK Multimedia was some, but I also like to support some of the smaller companies. As I'm getting older, I like to promote smaller companies. I like to certainly try products out from some of the smaller companies, because they're not as fashionable, and it's my rebellion side coming through. And anyone who's known the channel for quite some time knows that I love TV Pro Audio, and I've featured the ABLM plugin on the channel before. So there is a review of the ABLM plugin on the channel, and the ABLM plugin I'm doing it a disservice by calling it a volume matching plugin, because it's so much more than that. But when it comes to any form of audio engineering, the fact that we can be deceived by volume is still a challenge. And TB Pro Audio have this fantastic plugin called the ABLM, and what it effectively does is you have a copy of it in send mode at the beginning of your plugin chain, and you have a copy at the end of your plugin chain in receive mode, and it volume matches the chain for you. So if you've got any discrepancies in volume, so if, let's say for example, if you put an EQ on and you boost two or three bands without adjusting the output, then obviously there's going to be a volume difference, and it's going to be difficult to know what the true changes in the EQ rather than just volume. So the ABLM is great in those circumstances for volume matching, and it's been such a such a useful tool for me in my mastering that it was the right thing to do the review and to champion that product. And I'm really chuffed to say that TB Pro Audio have been really kind enough to give me a copy of the new ABLM2 plugin to give away for free. So we're going to give a copy of this plugin away. It's the ABLM2. I'll put a link. I did put a link in the description. I'm pretty sure I did. Yes. So if you go to the first link in the chat, it's for the TB Pro Audio website. Check them out. They do some fantastic plugins. Lots of different plugins for different uses. Lots in there for mastering. So if you want to get your hands on some great plugins, and check them out as well, TB Pro Audio, and we're going to be giving away a copy of the ABLM2 plugin for free. So it's going away. The winner will be announced in the next live stream. So the October live stream, I'll be announcing the winner. And I've been thinking about how to choose the winner. And what I thought is, I could do lots of things like leave a comment in the chat below and stuff like that, but I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. What I want to do is do something a little bit different and a little bit unique, where you guys get to try out something new, as well as hopefully give the guys over at TB Pro Audio some support without costing you a penny. Don't worry, you don't have to buy anything. But if I quickly go here and go to the desktop mode, let's minimize OBS. And here we are, it's the TB Pro Audio website, and this is a free plugin called GSAT Plus. And it's a saturation plugin. It's the plugin that I featured last month in last month's live stream. And my initial thoughts were it was really great, really useful, really versatile. This is a free plugin that I did in conjunction with gearspace.com. And so it emanated from one of their channel strips. So you'll see on there it says that it's derived from the saturation module on the CS5501V2 channel strip plugin. And what they've basically done is created a saturation plug called the GSAT Plus plugin, and it's for free, so you can download it for free. So what I'm going to say is, what I would like you to do, if you want to be with a chance to win the ABLM2 plugin for free, I want you to download a copy of the GSAT Plus, test it in a mixing or mastering capacity, and then I want you to drop me a note in the comments of this video or any of the videos that are going to be over the next few weeks. So what I want you to do is comment how you've used it and how you found it useful. Because not only is it giving you a chance to get a great plugin for free, as in the GSAT Plus, you're then going to get a chance to test it on something and apply it in your mixing or mastering. And then if you can comment in the comment section on one of the videos, or in the chat, or somewhere in the next few videos, leave me a comment as to how you've used it and how you found it useful. And then what I will do is I'll choose a winner, and the winner will be announced in next month's live stream. And once again, the prize is, or the giveaway is for the ABLM2 plugin. And it is a great plugin. It's another one of those plugins that is great to have in your arsenal. It's like a Swiss Army knife type plugin. You need it for a certain purpose, and I think it can really help a lot of people when they're mastering. So it's the ABLM2 plugin that will be given away in next month's live stream. And to be with a chance to win that, all you need to do is download the GSAT Plus. It's free from the TB Pro Audio website. Test it on a mix or master, or even a recording, whatever you want to do, and then drop me a comment and to let me know how you've used it and how you found it beneficial, and then I'll choose a winner in next month's live stream. So TB Pro Audio, they've been a big supporter of the channel. So if you see if you go to the ABLM, page. Oh, who's that ugly mug down there? And they featured my review on their channel, so they've been a big supporter of the channel as well. It's a great plugin, and this is the new expanded version. I've yet to try out the new version. If you have the old ABLM, I believe you can get this for, I think you get this download, this update for free. I'm sure it mentions in there somewhere. free upgrade for existing ABLM customers. So if you do have a copy, then you should be able to get a copy of this for free. But if you don't have a copy, then join in, download the GSAT Plus, use it and leave a comment, and then I'll be choosing a winner in next month's live stream. The other thing, while I'm on here, they do some free plugins, and if you want a here we are. If you want a free volume meter, check out this one, DP Meter 5. A lot of people champion the Julian. The Julian is great. I found this one, I actually prefer this one because I like the fact that you get not only do you get the short-term loudness, you get the max as well, which the max, the momentary max, the short-term max, and the true peak max, effectively they act as like, if you can imagine like a normal volume meter with a hold option where it tells you obviously the maximum figures. This obviously does it in a separate box, so I really like that. And you've got so many different options on here for RMS, EBUR 128 and all sorts on there, and it's free, so that's another great plugin as well. So TB Pro Audio. So that's pretty much it in that respect. Let's quickly go back to the chat, see if anyone else has got any questions. I think there was a question from Steve. Steve, have you updated to 5.4? Yes, I have. And then panicked because I hastily updated. Obviously, I'm on the Mac M1. I updated. It downloaded the ARM version, which was great. But obviously, the T-Rex plugins from IK Multimedia at the moment aren't ARM compatible. So when I opened Studio One and I opened up a client's project, half the plugins disappeared and weren't working, and it was like sending me error messages, and I was like, okay. And it took me a few moments to twig, and I had to go back to 5.3 just to send out the files. But I'm now on 5.4, and you can download 5.4 in Rosetta mode. So yeah, you can actually do that. And just to recap there, if there's anyone here who has got the M1 Mac, and if you've got plugins that, so basically if you've got third-party plugins that aren't M1 compatible, you cannot open them in the new update of 5.4 if you are using it in ARM mode, ARM mode, M1 compatible mode. Because if you've got Rosetta plugins or plugins that are still using the Rosetta emulation, they won't open it in Studio One in the native mode. So you have to then, what you can do, let me just quickly go back to the desktop mode, let's minimize that. If you go into your Finder, and if you go into your applications, and if you right click on your Studio One app, and you go to Get Info, and then you'll see here there's a box saying open using Rosetta. So even though this is it's the one download for M1 Max, if I untick this, it will open it in ARM mode. If I tick it, it opens Studio One in Rosetta. So at the moment, I've got it open in Rosetta mode purely because some of my plugins aren't compatible natively on the M1 Mac at this moment in time. So great little tip there for anyone who wants to know. So yeah, downloaded it. I like what they're doing. I like the way that they're implementing these new changes. I'm just once again frustrated that it's the lack of foresight with some of it still baffles me why you would not have give people the chance to export in multiple formats to then not have that in the project page. When you're going to be mastering, if that's where you're going to be doing the certainly the way I use it is I certainly use the project page for all the end of my mastering. So the bulk of the processing is done in the song page because I can do things like automation, etc., etc. And then I will then export everything into the project page to do all the file, do all the metadata, and all the file conversions and exporting from the project page because that's what it's for. Yet they've introduced a feature which is exporting multiple files, but you can't do it in the project page. You can only do it in the song page under export mixdown, and that to me it just doesn't. It baffles me why they've done that. So everything else I think is great, like the NAP mode. I think once again, just to reiterate, I think that's going to be a great tool. So for anyone who's using any CPU intensive mastering plugins, or any CPU intensive plugins, certainly in the context of mastering, the way that I would run a mastering session inside of Studio One, I'll put everything into the song page, I'll lay everything out sequentially, and if I've got a really intensive plugin on track 1, by the time that comes to track 2, that plugin on track 1, if I put it in nap mode, it will then go into nap mode and it won't put a load on the CPU, which I think is great. So yeah, I think that's a really, really handy feature. It just really frustrates me with the obviously the exporting option, that it's not available in the project page. But yeah, I'm sure that I will I'll certainly get a feature request, and I'll be questioning the thought process behind that. So yeah, outside that, I think it's great. So once again, if you guys have downloaded it, let me know what you think. We're really kind of interested to see what your thoughts are. Right, so it's coming up now. Time-wise, we are coming up 9:25. Any questions at all? If anyone's got any questions, let me know in the chat down below, and or in the chat next to the screen, and I'll answer some questions. If there's no questions come through in the next few minutes, then we'll wrap it up there. So if you've got any questions at all, then let me know. Just while I've got everyone here as well, so if anyone's interested in any mixing and mastering critiques, I do offer a mixing and mastering critiquing service through Fiverr.com. So if anyone's interested, it's Fiverr.com, Smudge, MITB, and there are details there of where you can find the critiquing services. I really enjoy doing it, and I've changed my process a little bit. I offer as with Fiverr, there's different tiers, and there's kind of like a written critique, like a video call critique, or kind of almost like a video tuition critique, different things like that. I'm not doing the paper critique anymore. The written critique, I really don't think it's worth it, because I can give much more value just doing a short video, and it takes me the same amount of time, if not less, to do a short video. And I did it for a client the other day who wanted a written critique, and it was just far easier, and it was best for everyone to actually do a short video and actually go through some different bits, and I could kind of highlight some areas where some improvements could be made, and I could actually show in real time correspond them against reference tracks, so you can really kind of get an understanding as to the thought processes, how I'm thinking, why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. So really, hopefully, kind of give you some good guidance. And whether it's mixes or masters, the client I was working for the other day just wanted some song feedback, so a little bit about the engineering, but also about the general the general composition of the song, and whether there's anything that they could do to improve their songwriting. And it was it was something that I did for them as well. So I love all that kind of thing. So it's Fiverr.com, Smudge, MITB, to find out details of the mixing, mastering, critiquing. In fact, I'm just going to see if I can. I might be able to put a link in the chat. Okay, let's do that. Do that. Paste. Done. So there's a link in the chat there, so if anyone wants any more information about that. And something that you guys may not know is I also do a lot of consultancy work for anyone who wants help setting up video conferencing. So OBS is a finicky pain in the bottom at times, and a lot of people do have struggles with the no worries, Steve. Great to see you, and hope to see you soon. some people do have struggles with OBS, and I certainly had struggles when I first started, and really kind of got into the nitty-gritty of how to use it for different applications. And started off just helping a few people from the voiceover community, and then it kind of expanded on from there. So I do also offer some setup services through Fiverr.com. So if anyone is interested in setting up OBS, whether it's for live streams or video conferencing, so I've got clients who use, not even music clients, people from other different industries, so people from the creative dance, people from the interior design community, and it's just how can they connect with their audience, and how can they present to their audience, and it's basically helping them set up OBS to link in with the many video conferencing facilities that are available. So if anyone wants any help with anything like that as well, that's also on Fiverr. So it's fiverr.com Smudge MITB. So if anyone needs any help there, then let me know. Okay, any other questions? Any questions at all? Okay, so as there's no more questions coming through, we'll call it a day there. Thank you for everyone who's joined and interacted. It is really, really much appreciated. And once again, thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. The plugin giveaway is obviously going to be announced next live stream in October, so that will be, I say, October, early October at some point. Probably the first week, I'd imagine. And if you want to be in with a chance of winning the ABLM2 plugin by TB Pro Audio, all you need to do is go to the TB Pro Audio website, download the GSAT Plus plugin. There's a link in the chat there. Download the GSAT Plus plugin. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Try it on a mix or master, or try it in recording, and then let me know what you thought about it. Let me know how it's really helped you to achieve what you wanted to achieve, whether it's helped you with the mixing capacity, mastering capacity, or recording. Let me know, and then say if you do that in one of the comment sections of the next few videos, or in the comment section of this video, or in the chat. Let me know how it's helped you, and then I'll enter you into the draw, which will be taking place in next month's live stream. So, yep, without further ado, you two follow. Thank you for joining, and see you soon. And yeah, thanks everyone once again. We'll call it a day there. And all that's left for me to say is I hope you all keep safe and well, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.